Hello, everyone, once again. This is Rob. Welcome back to Media Awareness and another album review. This time we're going to be talking about the new album from Suede or the London Suede, depending on where you're watching this, and it is entitled Antidepressants. Before I get to that, though, a reminder the fundraiser continues. For those of you new to my channel or unaware, I am a disabled individual and I use a motorized wheelchair slash scooter all day, every day for my independence, and I need your help. My insurance will not cover anything with regard to my scooter as I view it as a quote luxury item end quote, despite the fact that I am unable to walk whatsoever, in addition to being unable to use any other type of scooter or power chair, or even a standard wheelchair for that matter, as I only have limited dexterity in one hand. In addition to that, I do not have a backup scooter or wheelchair to rely on at the current time. So if my scooter should malfunction as it did a few months ago, I will yet again be a fish out of water, a scenario I want to avoid at all costs. With that stated, below the title of this video in the description below, as well as in a separate section below the information pertaining to this particular album, you'll find a spot fund link. It's a fundraiser, it's easy to contribute, it takes a few seconds, and any and all help is welcome. I cannot stress that enough. Even $5 or $10 can make all the difference in the world, and you can even contribute anonymously. The purpose of the fundraiser is both to raise money for me to continue the ongoing refurbishing of my existing scooter, as well as to save for the purchase of a new scooter. I arrived at these conclusions following the malfunction as alluded to a moment ago, whereby my existing scooter had its battery charging mechanism fail, and for roughly 2 weeks I needed to be pushed around my own home by family and friends, severely limiting my independence. However, it was also a long overdue wake up call that I needed a backup plan, and that backup plan is to have a brand new scooter to use moment to moment, day to day, every day, and my existing scooter completely refurbished, waiting the wings to be used at a moment's notice, if necessary, when necessary. So please do what you can. It would greatly be appreciated. I do want to extend a gracious thanks to those who have contributed thus far, in addition to those who plan on contributing, as your contributions have and will make a world of difference in my life. Thank you all. I love you all. If you're not yet subscribed to Media Awareness, my channel, consider subscribing and becoming part of the Media Awareness family. I'd love to have you. Additionally, if you do subscribe, make sure to click the bell icon. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video, much like this one. So as I stated, this is an album review of the new album from Suede and is antidepressants. This is the front cover. This is the back cover, very minimalistic. Then this is the inner gatefold where you have assorted um, writing on both sides. If I can get the frame here. And it's a three panel gatefold. And then the one side is the CD, and the other side is the booklet itself. Additionally, on this particular CD or LP, depending on your format of choice, the actual track listing is in the corner of this cover. As you can almost see, my fingers are kind of covering it, um, but it's actually on the cover itself. Now, I'm going to be doing this album review a bit differently. Usually, I will talk about each track as I go through the listing itself, the track listing when I do a comprehensive review like this. However, in this case, I'm going to list off the tracks and then give you my thoughts afterwards, and I'll explain afterwards the reasoning behind that as well. So we start the album out with the track Disintegrate, which was a single. And I did do a reaction video to that, which you can find on my channel. The second track is entitled Dancing with the Europeans, another single. Um, the third track is the title track, Antidepressants, which I did do a reaction to a live video, although it was not an official single off the album. Um, and the uh, fourth track is Sweet Kid, which I also did a reaction to. That was one I did a reaction to, I believe, a session or, or some sort of live um, appearance in studio, BBC, I believe. Then we have track five, which is The Sound of Summer. And up to this point in the album's chronology, these songs have all been uh, musically upbeat. Lyrically, maybe not quite as much, but musically they've all been upbeat. This is where the album slows down um, to some degree, with somewhere between an atom and a star. And it's beautiful, slow. I don't want to say ballad, but uh, it's a slower piece um, on this album, but it fits perfectly in the continuity of the album at that point in time. Um, then we move on to track seven, which is Broken Music for Broken People, which was almost the title for the album itself and was the working title for quite some time. I recently discovered with an interview with Brett Anderson. Track 8 is Criminal Ways. Track 9 is Trans State, which was another single from the album, and I did do a reaction to that as well. It's a great, great song, and it really says a lot within the actual song itself. Like I said, I'll expand more on my thoughts on each song um, afterwards. Next, we have track 10, which is June Rain, and finally, we have the last track, which is Life is Endless, Life is a Moment, which is another full, slower piece. Um, and it builds in its intensity, but it really is a good way to cap off the album as a whole. So, as I stated during my rundown of the tracks themselves, the initial album for the initial title for the album was going to be Broken Music for Broken People. And it's not really a slight towards anyone, but more of a statement of fact regarding the society today and the way people interact or don't interact for that matter. And um, there was a separate interview that I saw um, with Brett, and he stated that despite the fact, paraphrasing, but despite the fact that we are all seemingly more connected than ever, um, because of the internet and because of cell phones and all of this technology, in a lot of ways we're more isolated as well, um, at the same time. And in some cases, more than the other. One doesn't necessarily balance out the other. And uh, it's, when you think about it, it's really a paradoxical nature that this album is sort of bringing to the forefront with that thematic structure in mind. And all the songs seem to really flow with that particular theme in mind, really. Um, there's alliteration of some sort or another in each track that really illustrates that point quite well for the listener. Um, and I I honestly have to say, for me, one of the most moving tracks on the album is June Rain, and uh, it's a track that, although it's the next to last track on the album, it uh, starts out at a slower pace and builds in its intensity as the song goes along, but it paints a picture of an individual who sees themselves as an alien in, you know, a different uh, place than everyone else. And on the opposite side of a road, they see someone wave and they wave back, um, despite their broken appearance and despite the fact that they feel as though they are at the end of the rope, really, and they want to connect with the person, but the person is across this road. And um, despite that, the character in this track steps out into the road, into the traffic. Um, and it's either in a way to connect with the other person or to simply break that lack of connection. Um, and I feel like that's something we can all really identify with. Um, I know I can. And it's really a touching song. It brought tears to my eyes when I heard it and, just listen to the lyrical delivery, as it was so moving and just so incredibly passionate in its intensity. Um, so the songs on their own and as a whole really form the body of the album itself. There's, yes, the songs could be listened to separately and enjoyed separately, but as a cohesive whole, it's so much more. And um, it stands as a document, really, of our time. Um, and it's a strange time that we all live in at the moment, um, as there is a seemingly illusionary factor of being more connected and closer to people because of um, mass communications, internet, cell phones, texting, whatever. But we are so disconnected at the same time and just never really truly um, focused as we should be. Not anymore, at least. And there's underlying threads under that in society as well. But this album really paints a perfect picture of society today. And not only that, it's an album that is really hard to stop listening to. Um, I've been listening to it pretty consistently since it arrived, and I haven't been able to stop. It's just that good of an album. Each song has its own appeal, its own feel, but they all really, at the end of the day, are really connected in um, a strange yet really heartfelt man. And I can't say anything else about this other than get this album in your choice of format. Now there is an extended edition. There's actually two according to Amazon. I'll show pictures here. And um, they both have the additional three bonus tracks. I'm not going to be covering those bonus tracks here. I did the reactions to them, so you can look up those. But they are really outstanding tracks as well. And although it would have been nice to have on this collection of material, it's also a nice place to really um, stop in terms of this album itself. It's basically structured perfectly for a an easy listen, not anything that you really have to put your mind to any great degree or spend time dissecting. It's pretty much straightforward lyrics and straightforward music. Um, and it's very post punk, uh, new wave style in terms of the music itself. Um, and it has that uh, Britpop feel as well, but not as much as the post punk itself and the new wave um, feel, which of course both those styles evolved into Britpop, but um, it has more of that early uh, raw approach to the songs as opposed to something more polished. They just really easily start and finish. There's not a lot of complexities, yet the intricacies that are there are just phenomenal. And it's a great performance from the band, great vocals, very little to no effects on the vocals at all that are discernible, and the instrumentation, it's basic keyboards, a guitar, bass, drums, and of course vocals. So there you have Suede Antidepressants, the album review. An album that I feel is a must have, and you should get this in whatever format you prefer. It's available on CD in multiple versions. It's available in vinyl. It's available as an MP3 download. And of course, you can stream it on your streaming platform of choice. This is Rob with Media Awareness. I hope you were able to get something out of this album review, and I hope you appreciate my thoughts on the new Suede album, Antidepressants. Broken music for broken people. Truly is. That's wonderful. It's like a medicine that makes everything feel better, and you can keep listening to it without any fear of adverse effects. This is Rob once again with Media Awareness, and I will see you all again soon. Have a wonderful morning, noon, or night wherever you are. Take care. Bye.